Why are people afraid to fail? Everyone despises failure, but for some people, it poses such a severe psychological threat that they are more motivated to avoid it than to achieve it. We refrain from taking chances for new employment, new relationships, and other potentially successful actions because we are frightened of failing. It doesn't always keep us safe. It causes more harm than good. Why are individuals afraid of failing? I am Caden, with expertise in self-development and finance. In my channel, I will tell you different ways to invest money and become a better version of yourself. Watch the video to find out the response to this query. The clinical condition of being terrified of failing is known as atychiphobia. It and the dread of being rejected are strongly related. The worst forms of this phobia may cause some people to cancel appointments or show up early and overly prepared repeatedly. Both signs and symptoms stem from a dread of the worst occurring. The following are a few signs of failure fear: sweating, headaches, muscle tension, panic episodes, rapid breathing, nervousness, rapid pulse, and nausea. There are further signs of being paralyzed by dread. This panic necessitates what is known as a sanctuary, which is essentially the safety of your house, much like most other forms of anxiety. Some people also desire never to leave their homes. They destroy their chances of success in several ways out of an unconscious dread of failing. Essentially, a fear of failure is a fear of shame. People afraid of failing are motivated to avoid failing because losing also causes them to feel intense humiliation, rather than because they cannot control the natural emotions of disappointment, rage, and frustration that come with such situations. Shame is psychologically damaging because it makes us feel horrible about who we are rather than our actions or efforts. What causes the worry that one isn't good enough? The specific origins of failure and dread are challenging to articulate. We avoid taking chances in life for a variety of reasons. We may address these reasons for our fear and use them to discover answers. Here are a few instances of the things that make dread govern our lives. Lack of confidence is one of the reasons we feel such fear. Healthy self-confidence prevents people from constantly worrying about whether they will succeed or fail. They know, in most cases, that they will respond appropriately if they fail. On the other hand, people who lack confidence will hold the idea of perfectionism dear. They believe they will only succeed if they do the task successfully. Most of us are aware that even though they fail, they're not failures. To them, this is just a reality. Perfectionism. Perfectionism is a topic that is closely tied to a lack of confidence. Those who dread failure frequently think they and the things they are interested in should be flawless. No matter how hard you try, nothing is entirely perfect, no matter how successful you are in your attempts. In situations where a person is constantly expected to perform tasks flawlessly, perfection may result from the dysfunction of others. Today's perfectionism in duties and lack of confidence can be caused by neglect. Only by observing the characteristics of your pals will you be able to determine whether this is the source of worry. Individualization. Some people consider failure to be a sign of their character. They blame themselves when they don't complete a task correctly or in the allotted amount of time. These people genuinely don't feel confident enough in themselves to try something new or take any chances. Examining the equipment utilized for the project or operation is the correct technique to identify the failure. When things don't work out, it's not always our fault. Sometimes it's only a matter of timing or circumstance. Therefore, taking personal offense at failure is just an unhealthy overall perspective. Children's problems. A fear of failure can result from any abuse. You may feel that nothing you accomplish, either now or in the future, would be successful after experiencing trauma like abuse or neglect. Because of this, you tend to stay at home and stay in your comfort zone. When we examine childhood problems more closely, we see patterns. The child was certainly shocked by the initial instance of maltreatment, but over time, it probably just became a routine part of life. As an adult, terror also merged into daily existence. Maybe you live in constant fear of being punished if you fail. Even before the results are known, you mentally prepare for failure. How do you get over your failure fear? The main issue with dealing with failure fear is that it typically operates on an unconscious level. For instance, even though you're about to take your final exams, you might feel pressure to complete writing out your Christmas cards because you committed to send them out by the end of the weekend. Finding solutions to this issue is the next step once you realize that you are terrified of failing. The number of strategies to lessen or eliminate these worries will astound you. However, there are essential things you can do to combat the unhelpful ways that fear of failure can affect your behavior, including pay attention to the things you can manage. Choose the elements of the task or preparation that you have control over and put your attention there. Think of creative ways to reframe the parts of study that feel out of your control so that you can take them back. Set the objective of growing your network by going through your address book, Facebook contacts, and other social media contacts, and getting in touch with everyone you know who can help. For instance, if you've been unsuccessful in finding work because you don't know the right people, they might know someone who is, even if they are not experts in your industry. You'd be surprised to learn how frequent failure anxiety is. What are your thoughts on this? Own the phobia. Accepting that failure causes you to experience both fear and humiliation is crucial, as is finding dependable people with whom you can share these emotions. Bringing these emotions to the surface can help you avoid expressing them through unintentional, self-destructive behaviors. Receiving affirmation and empathy from reliable people can boost your sense of self-worth while reducing the risk of disappointing them. You may learn many things if you accept failure and even welcome it into your life. Failure teaches us what we should avoid and what we should do instead. You need to adopt a new perspective to overcome this fear of failure. Find what is holding you back by slowly looking within. It is frequently the plain fact that people don't trust the world. Instead, have faith in your capacity to tolerate defeat. Maintain simplicity. Complications can make some worries in life more intense. Disorganization and unhealthful emotions are to blame for this. The best strategy to eliminate your fear of failure is to keep things simple. There are numerous things simplicity may do to calm the mind and foster a healthy environment. Stay in the present. Being in the present moment is one way to overcome the fear of failing. You must quit worrying about the future and stop obsessing about the past. The past frequently causes harm and suffering. There are concerns about the future that is unwarranted at this time. Therefore, anxiety stems from uncertainty about what will occur and if things will go poorly. The best state to be is in the present. There is no certainty. Remember that you will only try new things sometimes if you are reassured of failing. Your life changes when you take risks. Those changes aren't necessarily bad. There have been numerous instances where taking chances has led to outstanding accomplishments. Practice is the first step. If failure is inevitable, then you must accept it now. You need to examine the causes of your problems and current circumstances while realizing the truth about failures. What are the significances of your fear of failure? Identifying your fear of failure is the first step towards overcoming it. Failure anxiety isn't always blatant. This fear doesn't present itself in the same way that more severe anxieties do, such as anxiety about public speaking or social situations do. You will notice one or more of these 4 indicators. First sign, you are concerned about what others might think. Since humans are social creatures, caring about what other people think comes naturally, up to a degree. However, worrying excessively about what other people think can cause a paralyzing fear of failure. Overcoming fear of failure always means valuing the one opinion that matters, your own. This is true regardless of whether you're concerned that people will think less of you, be disappointed in you, or find you to not be very fascinating to be around. Setting low expectations for yourself is the second sign. Do you frequently admit to others that you're not very good or don't honestly think you'll be able to achieve in a particular endeavor? Are you not giving it your all, but rather testing it out? All of these are indications that you are afraid of failing. You can shield yourself from criticism, both from yourself and from other people, by having low expectations for yourself. Perhaps your company had early success, and you are now just clinging on while unclear of what to do next. Terminating your previous relationship may make you hesitant to open up to anyone, or perhaps you're unwilling to make changes because of your fear of failing, which keeps you in an unsatisfying life. Finally, fear of failure is a prevalent emotion. The most significant loss causes confusion, suffering, and self-doubt. Would it surprise you that one of the biggest anxieties of most top achievers is failure? The difference is that they have mastered the art of overcoming failure anxiety by recognizing and harnessing those emotions, using them to reach even higher. Understanding that the struggle of failure is not the issue will help you overcome your fear of failing. Your fate is ultimately determined by how you view the failure and treat yourself once it occurs. You may learn from failure and utilize it to succeed even more in the future by developing an attitude of learning and curiosity. What do you think of this form from your perspective? Please let us know in the comments.